Welcome to part 3 of the spring roll pouch sew along. This video will take you through steps 29 to 37 of the pattern instructions. While the original video to close the pouch is still up, this one has a few added tips and tricks. So with your lining and main zipper in hand, let's go. Find the center of your main zipper and match it to the center of the back pattern piece, the back of the pouch. Work your way out towards the wings, pinning the zipper against the lining, right sides facing up. To make sure the zipper lines up evenly on the other side of the pouch later on in the instructions, I like to make markings at key spots on the pouch. So I mark at the center, the corners, and at the end of the wings. There should be about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch left on both sides of the zipper. This helps in handling the pouch when we close it later in the video. To help ease the zipper into the angles of the lining, you can make a small snip to help to turn it. Additionally, I flash the tape to help it from fraying. Then it's time to crank the stitch length back up to baste the zipper into place. Since I made these markings on the zipper, I'm really trying to make sure that the zipper doesn't shift at all while I sew. Again, this is important to match the zipper to the front of the pouch later on. Now it's time to grab the main body. Center the back of the main body, which has the handle, and align it to the center marking of the zipper, right sides together. You can open the zipper at this point to keep the pulls out of your way while sewing. Definitely make sure that it's not twisted. I like to clip to the center of the zipper and work toward the corner. Clip at the end of the wing and then also work toward the corner, easing all of the fabric in place. If you have any excess fabric in the corner, because you're working with vinyl, cork, or some other non-stretching substrate, I'll address that later in the video. So once your main body is clipped into place, switch your machine back to your regular stitch length and sew only from dot to dot. Now I've flipped the pouch and I'm working on the front side of it after sewing the back side. With the zipper open, match the markings on the zipper to their corresponding parts in the front. Again, it's the center first, both corners, and then the ends of the wings, right sides facing up. Repeat basting the zipper and then sandwiching the main body on top, right sides together, and sew again from dot to dot. It's time to switch things up and work with a different pouch that has a vinyl main body, the white, and a waterproof canvas for the lining in the black to better show you how to close the pouch. But first, we'll address the nuances of sewing the main zipper into place with vinyl. First, you got to match up the main body with the lining of the pouch, centering the top of the main body and the end of the wings together, working towards that corner, and that's when you're going to clip. You'll see there's a little bit of excess fabric, and that's where we're going to notch in order to ease it in. Just notch it out as shown, about 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch on either side of the corner. And what you're going to do is basically push those notches together in order to ease that corner down. Essentially, you want to have the flat stitch line against the zipper, not necessarily having the seam allowance edges flat. If you've ever eased in a sleeve on a shirt, this is exactly what you're doing. So after you've clipped everything down, you will want to sew across. I'm just showing you the corner right now and how we ease that fabric through. And all is going to definitely help press that seam down and push the excess fabric you have in that corner out of the way. This way you won't have any awkward folds into that corner and it will remain nice and flat. You'll continue to the end of the wing, making sure you stop at the dot, backstitching well. We are going to detour back to the canvas foam quilt cotton version of the pouch because at this point you might want to remove the foam out of your seam allowance for easier top stitching later on. This is especially if you have a domestic machine. I'm using my seam ripper to cut through the basting stitches all the way from step 2, and then using some duck-billed scissors to cut out the foam from the seam allowance. Regular scissors will work fine too. Then afterward, I'll cut notches into the main lining and even into the zipper to help turn the pouch later on. With both sides of the pouch complete, check your work, and now we're going to box the bag. But before all of that, we have to secure the zipper head or the pull into place. You want to pull the zipper about 1 inch away from the edge of the main body fabric and put a small safety pin or even a staple across the teeth to hold it in place, because you do not want to accidentally hit that zipper head when you sew. So line up the notch in the main body between the two bases. You can see that I have a long line connecting the notches across the body because I had traced the pattern previously. Match the center of the zipper teeth to that notch and clip into place. Make sure to move the lining seam allowance out of the way and sew across the teeth only. The stitching will anchor the zipper to the main body. Once sewn, make a snip into the main body fabric centered in front of the zipper teeth but not going through the stitches. This will allow the main body to pivot as needed. Now you can box each side of the main body into place. It's easier to go from the zipper and work outward into the corner. Now as you clip the main body together, make sure that that lining is out of the way, because we will only sew through the main body and zipper. You can see I'm also making sure that the zipper is laying flat so that you do not accidentally sew some folds into that zipper tape. Now we've moved on to the sewing machine, and you will sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way across. This will close up the main body of the bag. You can see I pushed away that lining. Make sure not to catch it. We'll sew it up in the next couple steps. But you will go over the zipper right here. Make sure you're keeping that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Sew over well, because this part of the bag is probably going to get lots of stress. And keep going, maintaining that 1/4 inch. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward and you might have to just realign your bag a little bit. Make sure to back stitch well and then clip your threads. And this is at the point where you can cut the excess zipper tape off. This has been left on just basically for you to be able to handle and control the zipper while it's been sewn up. Going back to the foam version of the pouch, you can again cut the foam out of the seam allowance. You will cut through any basting stitches with a seam ripper and then cut out the foam with your duckbill scissors or regular scissors. This will allow the pouch to press and then sit more square later on when you finish it. Always make sure to check your stitches, make sure that everything has been caught in the stitching, and now it's time to move to the lining. Make sure you move the gusset, the divider out of the way, and we will start to align the base of the lining up with the zipper. You see the middle divider pocket seam right there? It lines right on top, centered on the zipper teeth. From here, you will move and clip the lining, moving from the center where the zipper is out toward the corners. You will now see where you were able to use those Y seams with the wing and be able to pivot that down to clip onto the base. You will fold back the seam allowances and clip in. If you have any bulk, you can notch out those corners right now, clip into the seam allowance to basically get that seam, that corner, as flat as possible. Make sure you get the other side of the lining, doing exactly the same, folding the seam allowances back and clipping any extra bulk as needed and flattening out the lining to box it. Now you really want to make sure you push in where the main body and the lining meet with the zipper so that you will stack those box seams on top of each other. Again, make sure it's all in there because you don't want to catch it. And then stack the lining box seam right over where you had sewed before. And now we will flip the bag with the main body facing up, and you will just go over those same stitches, and you will catch all of the lining. You will catch the zipper in between here. It might get a little thick, but having an awl and just going slow will definitely help you. Increasing your stitch length could also help depending on what your fabric is, but just make sure to go slow. If you feel your zipper head close by, you can even hand crank over the zipper area just to make sure that you are not going to get a broken needle or some flying shards coming your way. Pivot your bag as needed. Again, you are turning a very awkward angle into a beautiful pouch later. Backstitch well and repeat all of this on the other side of your bag. And don't forget to remove that safety pin or the staple you used to hold the zipper pull into place. Now you can head to the final part of the sew along series where we will close this pouch and top stitch it.